So welcome everybody to this panel that we dedicate to Japan and especially to the business environment in Japan. My name is Andrei Kelemen. I'm the CEO of Cluj IT Cluster, and I'm very glad to host you today and also to have this panel in our program of Cluj Innovation Days. Cluj Innovation Days has started today. We have a complex program that lasts for 3 days. And as I said, this panel is part of the program. Cluj Innovation Days is the annual event that Cluj IT Cluster is organizing. It's our flagship event, or the main event if you want. And this year we have the 11th edition, which as I said, just started today. I want to thank the Embassy of Japan in Bucharest for making this possible, also to JETRO, and especially to Daisuke and Kentaro, who have helped a lot in putting this together. I know that they have some good news for the innovation community in Romania and Japan. I will now pass the floor to Daisuke. Daisuke, please.
Thanks for introduction, Andrei. Can you hear me all right?
Yes, yes,
okay.
Everything is all right.
My name is Daisuke Kudo. Please call me as DK, that's much easier. I will be this session's moderator to the next 90 minutes. And to opening this session, I would like to invite our ambassador, His Excellency, Ambassador of Japan to Romania, Mr. Hiroshi Ueda. Ambassador, please.
Thank you very much. I'm Hiroshi Ueda, Japanese Ambassador of Romania. Thank you very much once again, everybody, for attending the Cluj Innovation Days 2023. And also, I'd like to express my gratitude to our co-organizers for arranging the event dedicated to the opportunities of doing business with Japan. This event has large importance for those who are interested in initiating business with Japanese companies. Every country has its own culture, customs, and processes in business. And sometimes Japanese business culture is not well known or misunderstood, which can cause a big bottleneck to start business and partnership. Today, we have experts of Japanese, Romanian, and Serbian who all have businesses between Japan and Europe, of course, including Romania. I'd like you to listen to their explanations and stories from both perspectives of Japan and Europe. This year, Japan has been actively advancing the economic relations with Romania, especially in the field of ITC and innovation. Japan and Romania signed the strategic partnership this March, which emphasizes the importance of cooperation of technology and innovation between the two countries. Following up the partnership, the Minister of Economy, Trade and Industry visited Romania in early May for the first time in history. Together with the investors and the technology business delegation, and organized business roundtables and networking with over 25 Romanian tech companies. Additionally, I'd like to announce that we will organize Japan-Romania Innovation Forum in Cluj-Napoca on the 19th and the 20th of June, together with JETRO, Ministry of Internal Affairs and Communication in Japan, Cluj City Hall, Ministry of Research, Innovation and Digitalization, ANCOM, and Cluj IT Cluster, thank you very much, Transylvanian IT Cluster, and Cluster of Education. The forum consists of one-day conference on the 19th and business matchmaking and networking event on the 20th. We'll have a business delegation of Japanese tech companies, VC, CVC, and telecom operators in Cluj. I hope that the companies participating in this in today's event will meet Japanese companies at the forum. The Embassy of Japan would like to continue organizing such occasions for Japanese and Romanian companies to discuss potential collaborations in business. To conclude my words, I wish you will get better understanding of Japanese business culture today and consider that the opportunities to work with Japan. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, His Excellency, Mr. Ambassador. And today, also, I would like to invite the General Director of JETRO Bucharest office, Mr. Nishizawa, to continue the opening speech. Mr. Nishizawa, please.
Hello, good afternoon and good morning, everyone. And His Excellency, Mr. Hiroshi Ueda, distinguished guests, participants. My name is Shigeyo Nishizawa, the Director General of JETRO Bucharest. JETRO is the government, Japanese government entity under the Ministry of Trade, Economy and Industry. So let me introduce a few moments about what JETRO is doing. So, okay, let me share our website for a moment. Let me share my screen. Okay. Can you see the JETRO website?
Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
As the same as the other countries, the government entity which supports the startup overseas development, the JETRO is supporting the Japanese startups, like this website shows. I will share. I drop in the chat box one by one. Oh no. Oh, sorry. No. Cool. I dropped the one website address, startup. Okay, if you have time, when you have time, please see what the JETRO is doing. So this is the history or circumstances or the background what we are doing, the number of startup accelerated, mentoring hours, connections. But this is all about the Japanese startups. It's a vice versa. I believe Romanian the government entity or the IT cluster like you, it's the supporting Romanian startups to developing the market strategy to overseas like Japan. And also, I need to change the screenshot one by one. No, screen sharing one by one. It's to share. Okay, entire screen. If I oh my god, Microsoft startup portfolio. Okay, do you see startup portfolio web page? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can see it. Yes.
Okay. Yes. This is a web page which shows the ambitious or vigorous startups who registered the JETRO. Okay, I'll drop this web page address to the chat box now. So anytime you want, you can see the list of Japanese startup who wants to develop overseas, and you can also sort. I would say, okay, for example, push IT security, and these are the Japanese startup IT startup lists. And also, okay, like the drone. Okay, this is only two Japanese startups which developing drone. So you can see anytime, and you can then contact them by yourselves. Okay, and also, okay, then this is also helpful for you to all Romanian startups. This is the venture capital CVC list. Actually, startup scouting portfolio. No, scouting. Like this. No. Oh, sorry. Key key players. Oh, this is them. Okay. And I'm showing the web page which shows key players in Japanese innovation ecosystem. The funding. These are accelerators or venture capital or corporate venture capital listed in Japan. So very recently, in a few years or less than 10 years, Japanese ecosystem is growing very fast, as like the USA or the European countries. So even the JETRO, for traditionally, we help or supported mainly manufacturing company or small and medium-sized manufacturing company to market overseas. But I'm saying due to the lack of entrepreneurship or lack of English language education, or some lack of financial regime issue, which do not the fund to start up company for risking. But now the situation or circumstances the ecosystem has changed a lot. So many the corporate venture capital, instead of the traditional financing bank, they themselves try to invest to the startup or ITA company overseas, not only in Japan, but overseas. So these are the list of. So the next month in June, Kudo-san will help to help you to connect the Japanese participants, the participant from invited by Ministry of Internal Affairs Communication or Ministry of Economy, or by JETRO ourselves. Okay. Then, and what is doing is to JBridge. Here. And this is one of the activity of supporting JBridge by JETRO. JBridge is a program which we outsource the work to Kudo-san. The Kudo-san is helping you by our JBridge program scheme. I will drop this to the chat box. Okay. CK. Then, okay. Then not only what we are doing is not only for this. From the overseas offices, actually, I am posting business news written in Japan very often. Let me show you kind of one by one. Okay, just a window. Okay, how about this? Okay. Okay, do you see my desktop?
Yes, Nishizawa-san, and sorry to intervene a little bit. Time is pushing the limited. And
okay. Okay, I have posted many the news about the Romania IT industries. Okay, venture capital the volume into the Romania has record high in 5 years. This is the one, and Hitachi's subordinate. Hitachi's the child company, the Global Logic acquired the Fortec in Cluj-Napoca. And EIT Energy invested to prime batteries technology in Romania. And this is about a fintech festival held in Oradea. And this was the news I posted about Innovex BCR based in Bucharest. They held a demo day, collaborated with JETRO. And this is about Japanese venture capital invested to the Romanian startup, Teleport HQ. Yes, the Romanian startup Teleport HQ was invested by Japanese venture capital, One Capital. And this is the news about Ovate, the Romanian startup. And this is news about the FlowX AI, which collaborates with the Hungary bank OTP. And this is the news about Turkish fintech startup marketing Romania. And this is about our performance about the webinar.
Thank you very much for great example.
Okay, let me finish my speech. Thank you very much. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Mr. Nishizawa. And the ambassador and the director general JETRO may need to leave for other duties. So I will take over the floor from here. And let me share the screen from my side this time. Is that visible now? So today's session is titled as Doing Business with Japanese. That's a theme. And the first part, about 20-30 minutes, I will present with NTT Data, Mr. Bojan, about the cross-cultural perspective with a live understanding and business communication approaches. And this short presentation is a pre-event for the Romanian Japanese Innovation Forum scheduled in 1920 in June. And the second day is, as introduced, will be designated for the matchmaking with a Japanese company. And hopefully today's audience can get some tips and use this as a trigger to think about, get yourself prepared to work with a meeting with Japanese company. So today's presenter and panels, myself again, call me DK, and I'm JETRO J-Bridge facilitator for this innovation forum in June. And I'm owner of Triple House Consulting and Advisory, and I'm a vice president of Business Association Japan in Romania. And co-presenter for presentation is Mr. Bojan from NTT Data Romania. Bojan, are you there?
Yes, thank you very much for the introduction. So my name is Bojan Mrazovac. I'm responsible for the innovation department at NTT Data Romania, and it will be my pleasure to support Kudo-san for today's presentation.
Thank you, Bojan. And next is Mr. Nakajima. Are you there?
Yes, thank you. My name is Kensuke Nakajima. I'm based in Tokyo and work at Mitsubishi US Research and Consulting. I'm looking forward to discussing the culture difference today with all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Nakajima-san. And Radu from Tora, are you there?
Hi everyone, good afternoon, good evening, good morning from Romania. I'm Radu Airinei, working as a product owner with Tora Trading Services and LSEC company. And I'm glad to share my experience working with my Japanese colleagues over the years. Thank you.
Thank you, Radu. So this is the theme for today, and I go straight dive into the first slide of a presentation. So presentation today is about perception, your perception, our perception. And this is warming up. Japan is a small country, small island, small archipelago. Is it true? There's a website called thetruesize.com where you can choose one country and slide on Mercator method, the atlas to magnify or shrink to compare the actual size. And I put the Tokyo all over the Cluj center of Transylvania. And please take a look. The north side coming from the Baltic country, Latvia, and the south end stretch all the way to Northern Africa of Tunisia. So I don't know, maybe you knew about it, maybe you didn't know. So this is our perception. And today is about try to shake our perception a little bit with new way of seeing the thing. So presentation is not about business etiquette, rules, and manners often talked about in this kind of topic. And you can find this kind of information everywhere on public information on a website. I draw this one from American Express. And we will talk about this part, some of them in a panel session, yet this presentation tried to go one step deeper inside why those behaviors are coming from, it's a background. And only one thing if I highlight, the hard sell does not sell, it's not only for Japan, but please remember this as a keyword. So what is the objective for this presentation? So as I said, to run about historical and motivational the reasons driving a certain national behavior, in this case, Japanese people, Japanese corporate culture, to help better understanding the true meaning of cultural characteristics and the social behavior, and to apply those analysis to your own culture, mainly Romanian people today, I believe, among the audience, to your culture and society to highlight where is the similar point, where is the similar opposite differences, to see the similarity and the differences. And finally, with those information, make yourselves ready to encounter certain unfamiliar behaviors, responses, reactions in a meeting, in a pitch, and try to react smartly to engage faster and deeper with your Japanese partners. So question number one, what is the rank of Japan in the expat experience ranking? So again, it's about asking about your perception. And we're going to use HSBC data today for 2012 and after 9 years, 21. And the experience ranking means expats living overseas and how they perceive the setting up of whole nation and the integration to the society. And those 3 points. And normally for the lectures, I will ask audience to answer, but today with a limited time, I will go straight to the answer. So this is older one, 2012, more than 10 years ago. And looking at from the higher side, the Kelemen, Thailand, Spain, Singapore, Malaysia, Mexico, you can see certain commonality among them. But where's the Japan? Not in the very top ranking ranks. And further right on the 26, you can find Japan. So you can see, I'm not sure how was your perception originally, but Japan is not necessarily the very high ranking, yet it's in top 30. After 10 years, 9 years. So what happened? The very top side quite a bit changed. Again, it's the same HSBC data, and Switzerland, Australia, New Zealand, Emirates, they came on the top. And where's the Japan? On the right side, it slipped off the score a little bit to 35th. So we tried to show, again, if your perception was right or maybe not right. Moving to next question, number 2. Then what about the rank of Japan about the gender gap index. It's a hot topic and a fast-moving topic. So I put out 2017 and 22, 5 years apart data from World Economic Forum. So 17. So it's a large ranking, and however, top 3 is almost constantly Northern European countries such as Iceland, Norway, and Finland. US could now score in the middle, 50, 49. Then where's Japan? And you will see all the Confucius-related influence countries lower in the score, lower than average. And China 100, Japan 114, Korea 118. But this is fast-moving hot topic. What happened after 5 years in 2022? Still, the top 3 is Northern European, Ireland, Finland, Norway. UK ranked in 22nd. It's quite high, followed by US 27th. Romania ranked in 90th. Congratulations, in a way, it's higher than Japan. And where is Japan? So we are 116th, and also Korea, China are similar, around a below average area. So again, maybe this one was close to your perception, maybe not. And talk about this, what happened to Confucius influenced region in Japan, in Japanese culture. So this is the one historical motivational reason affecting, in this case, the gender gap as well. And the Confucius influence is great. It's demand loyalty and courtesy. It's some factors actually we Japanese are known for good, positive side. And it also has another fundamental set of 5 relations. It was taught in 300 before Christ, in ancient time. And those 5 relationships between ruler and minister, it's about your senior and subordinate, manager and subordinates, authority and private sector, about righteousness. And it's asking also parent and child affectionate relationship. And number 3, husband and wife relationship. It's setting the differentiation to play different roles. And now you got probably a little bit aha moment. And number 4, elder and younger siblings. It's about precedence, the order. And number 5, friend-friend relationship should be based on the trust. That's how Confucius was teaching. So you can see there's some quite deep, long history background for one phenomena, such as gender gap can be explained. And I will explain a little bit about this. This is the most important slide for this presentation today. And this is not a lecture, so I will not read through, but left side, you can see when you encounter the different culture, let's say the one exaggerating side is denial, complete denial. And moving to right side, the defensive and try to minimize to involvement, and moving further right to really positive attitude to accepting, adapting, and probably most good example is the integration. So for this session, we would like all the audience think about this chart and try to think about where is your stage of different culture acceptance or sensitivity, and try to move to right side with more experience on a difference. So another example to show this is I'm using culture map used by INSEAD about Korea, Japan, supposed to be similar Confucius countries, and US. And on the top, about communicating, it's a famous one, probably some of you are familiar. US is, or European culture is more raw context, yet European is more diverse, so I will use US. Then opposite side of a high context, Japan, Korea both fall into those nice contrasts. And moving to the next one, about evaluation, the feedback, direct or indirect. Let's see, Korea, Japan prefer indirect approach, while US fall in neutral. And next, reading is more like organizational stuff, either egalitarian or hierarchical. Both Korea, Japan fall into very hierarchical pyramid, many layers organization, while US is opposite side. And interest one is next one, decision making. Let's say now US in the middle, and very top-down approach is Korea's side, while Japan is opposite side of spectrum. It's about consensual group agreement is still considered as important as an atmosphere if it's not the line of command. Next one is trusting, and US is right on trust-based, task-based, while Japan, Korea still sees relationship-based trusting as an important one. And another approach about disagreement for confrontational or try to avoid it. You can see both Japan, Korea, and try to avoid those confrontation. And the very bottom about the timeline scheduling. And in simple way, Japan is most linear time means punctuality for the time is very important. Same for US, and Korea is somehow a little bit more flexible about that. So going back to another this historical motivational reason, culture and the psychological safety. So we talked about organizational, egalitarian hierarchy, and in an egalitarian culture, ranking difference, people feel uncomfortable or shameful. We shouldn't generalize everything, but this is general story. Yet in hierarchical culture, we take ranking, people make feel a sense of order and peaceful. This is the reason behind, there's a fundamental difference from the start line. However, is a flat egalitarian organization always good for everyone, every organization? The answer, please think about it. To apply to your organization and also your client's organization. And go down one step, even more details. Social behavior you may encounter with Japanese partners and the fact and the reason drive behind it. You will see a lot of Japanese group company try to make the meeting only with Japanese language and middle one. And sometimes you may encounter the Japanese member on the team or on the table. Try to not be honest when someone is lack of the experience. And the last one, notorious one, not only for executive, but why Japanese executives get drunk. Again, it's not maybe only for executives. So those behaviors, think about the information I shared so far, has a reason behind it. So about meeting in Japanese, just a simple one. In general, Japanese cannot, most of the Japanese still cannot English very well. So it's uncomfortable and a little bit shameful to show that skill. And it is important for Japanese to run as a language. And it's common, probably for the Western culture, I would say, because of the, let's say, European case. You have so many countries in the Europe zone. About the non-honesty in the beginning about experience in high context culture, like Japan, again, you cannot confess this inconvenient rights. No, this is the right reason behind it. While low context culture, if you confess honestly, it's perceived as more understood. It's a quite different perception, social perception happen. That's the reason behind it. And the last one about drinking. In high context culture like Japan, again, people tend to hold on the problems, responsibility inside of yourself. While in low context culture, communication is a key. So it's a responsive, it's a duty almost to share the problem with the team to try to solve. So this is a nice contrast, and you can see just a set of behaviors you may see, but there's a reason behind it. So some message to the audience here, and to recap and highlight. Christian culture, believe in one God, teaching basically equality of the people, and this is wonderful. And the Confucius teaching, Hindu as well, is teaching the order and peace based on hierarchy. That's also historically coming like this. And different culture have different ideas, right? So common sense, social rule, those differences are normal, And any actions that ignore these results in conflict, either emotional conflict or behavioral conflict. And this is not a talk about which culture is more superior or inferior at all. And cultural intelligence we are talking today here, and would like to think about, all the audience about it, is understanding and respect other culture to realize what they want to do, your partner. Yet that's not the end of the story. Now, also you should make the effort to let your partner to understand your culture. It has to be mutual. So this is a set of very, very basic fundamental touch introduction. However, I would like to ask NTT Data Romania's case as a more modern, updated Japanese corporation in the international context. Mr. Bojan, Bojan, are you there?
Yes, Kudo-san, thank you very much. So I would like to basically, in the context of your presentation and explanation of cultural differences and behavior, I would like to try to illustrate how we implemented it already in NTT Data Romania and how we are, of course, constantly trying to improve it. Because if we are following, as a Japanese company, the Kaizen principle, then we should never stop. We should always improve it to be more and more better. So if you go to the first slide, first I would like to just give the overview how big NTT Data company is. So as you can see here, everything in dark blue and in light blue color, this is basically NTT Data Corporate. We are headquartered in Japan, but our NTT Data Romania company is basically the child company of the very large corporate that, as you can see here, includes many, many different cultures. And this is basically one of the largest challenges that we are constantly improving how we should operate as a one family. And this is one of the main focuses that we are trying to put here. As the basis, of course, we are trying to implement more cultural and especially business cultural phenomenons and contexts from Japan. So we are trying also to implement Bushido Codex for our managers, but for our young people, developers, so they can basically feel the business and they can identify themselves with the business and with the company. How it looks like. If you go to the next slide, basically it shows in short the explanation of the company. So in NTT Data Romania, there is over 1,800 colleagues, engineers, and people that are basically working for this company. We are, if you're looking in average, the age around 34 years. So this is a kind of mix of generations, a very young, very new generation, and a generation which is, let's say, in their mid-ages. People are always saying as more years you have, more experience you have, but the passion comes with young people. And this is exactly the unique cultural mix that we are trying to reach, basically taking the innovative mindset from Japan, entrepreneurial mindset with the passionate mindset and the knowledge that we are providing here in this region. And this basically is where NTT Data Romania is trying to merge those two approaches into one unique cultural mix. If we were speaking about the gender gap, we are trying to reach it to be almost equal. This is, of course, based on the distribution of our colleagues. Not only we are trying to reach some numbers, we are really distributed in such way that 60% still majority are men, but now we are 40%, I think even over 40% with women, which means that we are slowly trying to reach that gap to be very small. So we would like to really lead further our company to be equally distributed among men and women. And in that case, in terms of gender gap, this is how we are trying to implement it in our company. If you go to the next slide, I will try to explain basically how we currently and our people, how they are actually feels like. So speaking about loyalty, which is of course one of the main characteristics of Japanese people, in most cases, there is one company for life. This is how most Japanese colleagues are thinking. Here in our company, maybe the percentage is not such high, but if you take a look, 10% of colleagues we are having now, which are between 10 and 22 years since the opening of EBS, the first company in Romania, they're still with us in the company. We cannot say that this 10% was always 10%. There were times 6, 7, 8, 9 years ago when this was close to 50%. So we can say that we can proudly have around 200 colleagues which are with us for the last 10 plus years. As I said, basically the important fact in Japanese business is that when you're trying to get the business with a Japanese company, either it's internal or external, you need to show yourself, you need to prove yourself. It will take sometimes a lot of time, and sometimes the discussions are taking even a year and a half. But once you clarify everything and once you settle down the clear constraints of the business, then that business will last for a long time. And this comes to the committed business approach that we have, which means that half of our clients are committed to us and they are with us for over 10 years. So 50% of our clients recognize us, they set the business with us, and now they trust to us. And this is the most important thing that we would like to reach, to have trusted partners that can believe that we can deliver something, that can freely let us do the business, and that will not be scared if we will reach something, some milestones on time. No, this is something that we overcome already, and with new clients we are trying to do the same, to show them that we are the company with Japanese heritage, especially in making business, and that we want to do it. And this is a very good characteristics from Japanese business. Once you absorb those, again, I will use the term Bushido in business characteristics, people and companies will trust you more. And this is how we as Japanese companies are trying to do. But if you go to the next slide, basically what we are doing with our people inside of the company, this is where our people experience framework is doing a lot of stuff in terms of inclusiveness. People first, this is one of our main mottos. No micromanagement. We believe to our people, we believe to team leaders, we believe to mid-management. So basically main decisions goes sometimes bottoms up, sometimes top down. So we are trying to listen what our people are speaking, what they are identifying, because, you know, as more you have managerial tasks, less you have tasks in basically hands-on on the projects, and this is where we need to merge knowledges from both sides. And this here comes to the fact that still the let's say average age ratio in our company is 34 years, which means that somehow we are still between young and mid-aged company, which is very good, because in such company people are listening to each other. And this is where we are actually developing something we call collaborative leadership and entrepreneurial DNA. This is how we're trying also to grow our persons, to give them more freedom to participate into some discussions, to participate in some decision making, especially in area of their interest or if area of their expertise. And this is something that is basically bringing us an essential network of our clients and partners. So in short, basically what we are trying to do, as I said, we try to use the passion in our company that is mainly coming from this region, from Romania, from the neighboring countries, from Serbia, where I am based. So the passion for doing business right, this will be, of course, integrated with the passion coming from Japan and Japanese traditional codexes and standards in business. And in such case, we are trying to build a unique culture inside of the company, which is trying to take the best from all cultures together. Basically, if you go to the next slide, I will try to conclude my short presentation about what we are doing and how we implemented it in Entity Data Romania. We are people, so we are not robots and machines dedicated only to business. And according to that, we also enjoy culture. We want to spread the word of culture, especially from Japan. And this is where we are coming to a lot of cultural events that we organize all together with the support from His Excellency, the Japanese ambassador, who was supporting our offices, opening of new offices in Sibiu, but also the International Theater Festival that has been organized in Transylvania, where we tried to bring the flavor of Japan and to spread it among Romanian people. So only if we understand each other well, we will be able to do business well. If we understand each other's culture, we can understand why some things that maybe initially doesn't look as something that has to be done or look a little bit strange. Once you understand someone's culture and someone's way of living, you will understand why they have such way of doing business. And this is what we are trying to do. So that would be in short from my side. Thank you.
Thank you, Bojan, and thank you for the brilliant example of a Japanese mega corporate. I would call it a success progress for many cultural understanding part.
Thank you.
So I'm moving to next question straight. What are the similarity and the difference? I asked in the beginning between your culture, mainly Romania today, and Japan, and how do they affect in a business context? So I'm introducing National Cultural Dimension by Hofstede Consultancy, and I will not read it, but just explain from the top number one about power distance between senior and subordinates and the authority and staff, and individualism, collectivism, group, masculinity, femininity. The number four important one, uncertainty avoidance. I will come back to this one later as well. Long-term orientation, it's about pragmatism, and indulgence, the last one, it's about flexibility in a certain degree of freedom. So those 6 factors are very nice figure to compare one culture to another. So let's take a look. So Asia first, China orange, Japan blue, and interesting one, the probably you can imagine power distance is much bigger in China. Individualism upside higher in Japan. Masculinity, I was a bit surprised it's higher in Japan. And uncertainty avoidance is quite high in Japan, while not so in China. And about the time, no, it's about the same. About flexibility, Japan shows slightly higher. And moving to comparison with Japan to outside of Asia, first United States. So power distance somehow follows similar neutral numbers. Individualism, as you can imagine, much higher in the US. Masculinity inverse, we already talked about it. Yet this uncertainty avoidance, US is in the middle, no, not necessarily very low. And our time, long-term orientation, US is scored somehow lower, and flexibility is much higher than Japan. But this is still far away, and I know a lot of the audience today already experienced business with US. So moving to Europe, UK. So power distance, similar figure, individualism shows a lot higher for UK, even compared with US, and masculinity also higher in the UK. And here, uncertain acceptance, no, again, nice contrast with Japan, long term, similar US case. So you will see some similarity, more similarity between US, UK compared to Japan. But today, most important figure is this one. So orange, Japan, Romania, blue. Let's go one by one from the left. Power distance. Interesting, Romania score much higher for this power distance, as a factor. And individualism, somehow lower score, even lower than Japan. And masculinity, this is a good thing, much lower, means I think NTT Romania example is showing the gender gap minimization is progressing much faster in Europe. And this is very important figure today, the uncertainty avoidance. Romania and Japan has very similar score attitude in general. So please think about this. And the rest, quite similar European figure. Yet this last one about the flexibility, the Romania score somehow quite low. This was I was also surprised. So please think about this number and the website, the greethofstate.com. You can play around with those chat by yourself and compare by yourself, different countries if you're interested. Because I have a homework for you. So with these figures, factors comparison, please think about what exactly was the difference and similarity, and how you think you will apply that idea action to the actual meeting, pitch, networking session with Japanese companies. So this is my homework. And I'm putting two pictures on the left side first. This was back in 2019 about energy-related startup competition. I was going with them as an advisor, and we won the contest, and we discussed with many mega Japanese energy companies. Unfortunately, after a few months, the pandemic hit, and the clients' priority for budget moved, and it was halted. But I think it was one of the great cases. We succeed together about this culture management perspective. Right side, another event with JETRO in Japan. I also went with them. And this one was not the competition, yet we met quite a good number of Japanese corporation, and one of the big gaming company wanted to have a collaboration about the game theme park. But again, after 2 months, only 2 months, pandemic hit and current budget moved. But those are the things I will do, and I was doing mainly with a startup. And I will skip this one for today with the time. And the last one is set of recommendation for this presentation part. Punctuality of time, we talked. Meeting start from 11:30 means 11:30. People expected to appear 10 minutes before, and meeting will start right on time. And detailed planning. Think about too many detailed scenarios in advance will be much appreciated. You remember this high uncertainty avoidance. So the more the scenario is detailed and think about it, prepared in advance, it's appreciated. Relating to that, stick to the plan, please respect that, and try to cooperate. And if something deviated, some changes, be ready for the solid explanation, and you're good. And the next one is decision style, decision-making style. Now, Bojan talked, it takes time quite often. Yet, please understand and show the respect for their way of doing it, and try to find a way, still how you can access and get decision maker involved, to accelerate the process. Then, same. Talked about hierarchical many-layer organization, respect that, and rank is very important among the organization. Yet you may have a potential advantage being expats because you are not part of it. So you may be able to skip in a positive way to accelerate the process. And the last one is about language. Use your person you're engaging, English skill. Ask them how much is their overseas experience, and it can kind of reflect it as an indication to understand how the person is more traditional Japanese way or not opposite. So this is a presentation to set the just ground, and we are moving to the panel, and those are just basic ideas we put. But here, interesting panel with a lot of experience today we have. So I would like to invite Mr. Nakajima from Mitsubishi UFJ Research and Consultant first to share his insight and elaborate more about your experience. Mr. Nakajima.
Okay, thank you, Daisuke-san, and thank you for explaining the cultural difference and insightful analysis. It's quite interesting. Okay, then I would like to talk about the specific case example of the cultural difference between Japanese company and in Europe, because I supported many Japanese companies for doing business in Europe. So based on that experience, I'd like to explain some examples. Let me share the slide. Kudo-san, can you see?
Yes, I can.
Oh, sorry, one moment. No, this is not the right one. Just one moment, please. Once again. Wait a minute. Is okay?
Yes, we can.
Okay, then I'd like to start. Today, I would like to introduce two case examples. And these cases are quite entry level about the cultural difference, but sometimes very important and maybe interesting for you to understand the uniqueness Japanese business cultures. And the case one, yes, this is the real case. When major Japanese manufacturing company, actually this is one of the largest American company in Japan, when they expanded their business in Europe, I gave them a lecture on the differences of the business cultures. And by the way, I have a question to all of you. How many times do you wear dark suits in a year? I guess in Romania, maybe less than 20 times or 10 times in a year. Well, actually in Japan, many seniors in 50s and older are still wearing dark suits on a daily basis. And of course, young generations in 20s and 30s, they are wearing business casual. When I have told the project members of this company, I explained to them that it is acceptable to wear dark suits, for example, when a factory establishment ceremony, because sometimes these cases ministers and the VIPs will attend. However, I emphasize that please change to business casual as much as possible once new business starts. But unfortunately, this company's project members continue to wear dark suits. And as a result, no new project were awarded. And finally, after 6 months later, the executives of this foreign side requested that we should do something about it. And when the young Japanese project members returned to Japan, I organized the cultural difference seminar again and explained to this fact. And I told them, do not take the suits and please put your suits in your closet for a time being. And after the young members changed to the business casual, and then the and communication had been improved, and they were able to win large contracts. I think they got 10 or 15 new quite large projects in a year. And then the Japanese executives in Europe who saw these situations, and finally they understood what this meant. And then they also started to change to the business casual, and now their business is going very well. So the lesson learned from this case is, well, in Japan, still the business persons likes to wear on the dark business suits. So in other words, if you are doing business in Japan, maybe it is easier to build reliable relationships if you wear dark suits instead of the business casual when you have a first business meeting with executives in 50s or over. So this is the first case. And the second case, this is the meetings. Here is the example that you may experience in the future. And this is also the real case I have experienced. When you have an important meeting in Japan, many peoples may attend the meeting. This case study was that my experience together with the CEO of the startup in Europe. And this company developed the state-of-art chip for the supercomputer. This was a very innovative company, and so that's the European government asked the Ministry of the Foreign Affairs of Japan to introduce them to a promising potential partner company in Tokyo. And as a result, this Japanese company coordinated internally to form the best team and held the meeting because this was requested by Japanese government. And actually the total of the 17 business persons participated. And it was also very difficult to exchange business card. And I guess you would be puzzled if 70 people showed up at the first meeting. Then how do you deal with these large meetings? Well, in this case, you can easily understand the structure in the room by organizing the participants' employees by department and positions like this. And the Japanese organizations have a system of division of labor. So multiple departments participate in complex meetings. And generally, the most senior persons only says the opening remarks. And the meetings are conducted by the section chiefs of each department. And what was very interesting about this case was that after the meeting, the CEO of these startups asked me that the young person who spoke up most often was maybe the head of the department. This case is this one. But actually, this person was a student from Malaysia, and he had no decision-making power or influence. The CEO was mistaken because Asian people are very energetic these days and speak out aggressively. But however, in this case, the decision maker is the top guy, the director of business divisions. So the lesson learned from this case is that when you attend a meeting with a large number of people, you can grasp the overall structure by categorizing them by department role and positions. And sometimes the most senior participant in a meeting, the person who only makes the opening remarks, has decision-making authorities. So this is just a simple case, but maybe I guess you can utilize these cases when you come to Japan and have a meeting with several executives. Yes, okay.
I love the stories, and second one maybe and I'm not wearing dark suits, ignoring European culture. I have a VIP meeting after this session, so please forgive me for that. And no, interesting aspect. And here we have Mr. Radu from Tora. The company itself has a relationship with Japan from the foundation, but also as clients, you have a lot of Japanese clients. Mr. Radu, can you also share your insights on this perspective?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so I am so the company I'm working at, Tora Trading Services, has great experience working in Japan. We started in year 2000, and we have over 20 years experience working with the Japanese clients. We started basically in Japan, with most of our clients being Japanese firms. And what I can say that everything that I've seen in these presentations before me, I have experienced myself over the years. So what we can see in Japan, that the clients are very it's all based on trust. So you need to build that trust before from the beginning, and all the time we had to have someone that is natively speaking Japanese to go and pitch and present our product. And once that trust is developed, they will be very hard to move away from your product, from your business. So it's very hard to get to take the clients on board, but once you have them, it works in your advantage because they are loyal and everything is based on trust. So they really like to have Japanese speaking in our team to keep the relations open, and they are loyal to that person over time. They will prefer to keep the contacts with the same persons.
What kind of time, Ryan, you are talking about to establish this good relationship, Mr. Radu?
So it depends. So building the relationship will take a while. I would say probably months, even years in some situations. So you need to prove yourself. You need to be really prepared and listen to and really plan ahead, as we can see in your slides as well. They are planning long time because they are very, very hard to try new things. So once they use the product, they use a flow. It's very hard to change it. And once you manage to change that, you have a client that is really loyal and trustful to you.
So you mean it was investing the time and the effort?
Yes, of course, of course. It's a bit more investment of time in the beginning, but it pays out on the long run.
Right. Thanks for sharing a very positive one and very realistic example. And I will ask now, coming back to NTT data, Mr. Bojan's case, but a more personal experience. But Nakajima-san, Radu, please jump in anytime to ask his case. Probably also among us, now we can share the experience, which is interesting enough for audience as well. So Bojan, can you jump in, bringing your own experience, not necessarily as a whole corporate?
Mm-hmm. I will bring my personal experience when I was basically first time joining a very traditional sister company from Japan. Traditional meaning that they were very focused on doing business on the local region, and they were not doing so much business overseas, which means that really traditionally they were very focused to complete Japanese tradition, including wearing suits in the office, like what Nakajima-san mentioned as well. So for us, it was an interesting experience. We are not used to wear suits, as you also explained, in our offices. But in such case, and since then, every time when I'm going in Japan, I know that I have to prepare a few suits, shirts, of course, and it's always, very corporate colors. So to be basically, it makes you feel a little bit different as well when you are wearing suit and when you're discussing some discussions over there. And exactly everything that you present today, it's what you can see. So hierarchically, it's older, more experienced people are always very respected. Silence is gold as well, as was presented today. So you have to wait until someone is speaking. When you get the request to say something or the question to say about something, then you have your chance to speak. So it makes no sense to, when we are doing like brainstorming here, we are speaking sometimes all together at the same time. We are trying to argue that way. But yeah, in Japan, it is a little bit more different. And in Japan, one thing that is very, how to say, traditional for Japan is this consensus decision making. So if you are not sure, or if you are not aware of the whole context, or if you would like to consult someone, you will always count on help of senior colleagues that are basically above you in the hierarchy. And only when everyone has consensus about some decision-making process, then it's go or no go. Which sometimes in our business tradition, sometimes it makes sense, sometimes it goes together, but sometimes the consensus require less people, maybe just a few people to give their opinion, especially if this is about the technology. So the subject matters. If they are okay with the technology, then it makes sense. And this is exactly the difference why sometimes in the Western countries, including also our region, Romania and neighboring countries, decisions for some processes are much faster Then in case of Japan, and this is so for also the audience today that are sitting here, please do not keep your patience when you are discussing with Japanese companies, because this kind of decision making is very basic and very common in Japan. So everyone needs to give the consensus of one decision making. It will take much more time. You will have to wait, but at the end, once you get the consensus of everyone, believe us, the trust will be much stronger than if you are maybe doing it with someone from the West. So this is maybe one example from my personal experience and very first touch with Japan and Japanese people.
All right, thank you, Bojan, and a very honest confession. I hope you got approval to disclose your own experience. Huh?
We are now used to it, so we are trying to to do the same.
I hope the audience took as a very encouraging message. No, it may take time. Sometimes might be faster, but no, it's doable. And just some, basic idea upset, to twist the perception may help. And maybe I go backwards now. No, it was very encouraging message, Bojan Cross and Radu. Can you add one like an encouragement for the audience who may have a meeting with Japanese clients, partner soon?
Well, as I said, it's a very hard to get a client to have the consensus that we were talking about, to gain the trust, but it's all worth it. And in the end, if you're really prepared and your product really help the client and you gain that trust, you'll have a really good and valuable client.
Does it sound a little bit difficult, actually? Or it's naturally you manage to achieve, or you are master of cross-culture management?
Well, yes, but it's all worth it in the end. It's very different. They are not that open to new to changes, but once you convince them, then, as I said, it's all worth it.
Right. And yeah, I think patience might be the key as well. Good keyword. And now coming back to our side, Japanese side, Nakajima-san, how do you phrase the encouragement to the audience who may have a meeting pitch with Japanese companies soon?
Okay, thank you. Well, I'd like to say, don't to be nervous when you communicate with Japanese. And it's better to understand, share culture differences. And I also propose that you should create new business system working with the, Japanese. For example, in the future, I think we will be able to enter into the Southeast Asian market jointly. And the culture of the Southeast Asia is a business environment that is a fusion of the West and the East. So maybe it may work very effectively if we can create the new something like a business framework system that integrate the Romanian and the Japanese cultures. So yeah, let's consider positivity and create new things and value create not just between the European, Romania and Japan, but also try to enter into the new market. That is my message.
Thank you very much. I think that was a perfect encouragement for the audience. And no, we will stay here for another 10 minutes. So sorry, the timing was a little bit unexpected, but I believe we can take still one or two questions, possibly more. Then what's the best way? Raise the hand or unmute, just to first come, first serve. Maybe Andrei, you can help me for this part.
Yes, sure, Kudo-san. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you have questions, this is the time to raise these questions to our panelists, our presenters. You can use the chat, as I said. There has been going on a parallel discussion in the chat about the suits and the dark suits. I liked very much that example. It's very telling. It's a very telling story about the business culture in Japan and in Europe and in the Western world, let's say. And I was saying that in Romania, only governmental officials wear on a daily basis dark suits. Not all of them, but especially senior governmental officials, that's their let's say go-to clothing setup. But in the IT sector, we love casual. So we like to be casual. So this is, I think, a very important lesson, let's say, that we derive from the discussion. So let's see if there are other interventions from the public. Okay, until you maybe think about a question or some issue that you want to address, I want to comment a little bit on Nakajima-san's last remark, which I liked very much and is aligned with our vision as well at Cluj IT Cluster. His Excellency, the Ambassador Ueda-san, he mentioned the forum that is coming up mid-June, on the 19th and 20th of June. We have proposed during this conference a session dedicated to internationalization. And our idea, or the, let's say, the background for this proposal is exactly what Nakajima-san has mentioned, to build the kind of business setup and business trust where companies, for example, from Japan, from Romania, and from Europe in general, can go into joint ventures and address new markets, such as South Asia, but also maybe South America or even Africa. And we see a lot of value here in this kind of partnerships, because each party can bring something valuable to the table, and we can deliver indeed added value to clients or to businesses or to other organizations across the globe in this way. So this is a comment that I wanted to make, and also I took the occasion to remind you about the forum, the innovation forum, which is happening mid-June. So we have a question, yeah, in the chat from Andrei P. Can you be more explicit on how to build trust with a new Japanese client partner? Can you give a real and personal example and tell us what was your approach for building trust with a new client? Besides proving a great product, what other strategies do you have? It's a question with several questions.
Yeah. I will open, just set because there's a typical answer for that. I don't want to hear from other experts about that. We used to spend a lot of time for drinking for this. I'm not hiding it. To be friends. And it's not only for Japanese, right? When you do business with your Romanian client, maybe you also know, or European, as a European client, you spend some time to get along, be a friend. That's the key I want to put as a starting point. And Nakajima-san, Radu.
Yes, I would like to highlight one key word. Please remember the Japanese word akachochin. And that is a quite useful word. And this is something, the signal of the pub. When you visit Tokyo and try to visit the pub, there is a, akachochin you can see. So after the meeting with the Japanese, for example, 4 p.m. or 5 p.m., why don't you create the first step, a reliable relationship with Japanese?
That's true, but I don't know if that's a technique you use, Radu.
Well, yes, socializing really works, and at the beginning, it's the easiest part in gaining the trust. Of course, most of our clients are based on relationships, at least in our case with a financial product, and you really have to prove yourself. So if you already have a pool of Japanese clients, it will really help start building that trust, and also socializing. Having native Japanese speakers in your team to coordinate and the meetings, because even though they really know English, they would prefer to carry the discussions in Japanese most of the time. And after that, of course, is a hard part in understanding and taking enough time and resources to understand their flow and model the product to meet their expectation, even if you are planning down the road to change that view and propose them new solutions. But in the beginning, you really have to listen and take in everything that they can provide you, besides socializing and meeting afterwards. But in order, you have to convince them. So it's a really organic way of gaining the trust. You have to prove yourself and prove the product, even though you know you have a great product. And if you identify the right things to provide in the beginning, after that you can build on top of that. And of course, once
thank you for bringing
it's easy from there.
Socializing sounds better, but akachochin is two keyword. It's the same thing, but not limited. And what was your strategy, Mr. Bojan? Be honest, please. We are helping this
Yes. So basically, at least from my experience, the first very important thing is always be very punctual. If you are having a meeting at certain time slot, please be there on time. This is something that is very valuable and very important. So this is something that shows the professionalism that you have, and also for Japanese people that are very professional in their job, and they are punctual and they're expecting from others to be punctual as well. So this is very important. The second thing that I would like to mention here is also to be honest. Even if you have issues or problems with your product or with the project that you are working for them, be honest with them. Japanese people will understand if there is a problem, but please speak freely and openly about it and present that you understand the situation and that you understand how you can resolve and improve the situation. Never show the things that they are much better than they are at the moment. So always be very honest and very open with them. Even if it doesn't work well, Japanese people understand and they're not expecting something to be perfect. They understand the situation, they understand the technologies, and they will understand if something is missing or something should be improved, so they can even support you with that. And the third thing is more about being social. I can only say that in most cases, Palinka and Suica are connecting people. So always when you're visiting Japan, bring some Palinka with you. So people in Japan will respect it.
Okay, thank you. And the Palinka part is secondary, he said. Yeah? The talk he mentioned earlier, but it was great point was highlighted. Being honest, no, because when it comes out later without being honest, the problem gets bigger and the trust will be broken. So it's not one strategy, right? It's a human relationship. No, it's a psychological, the contextual things we presented today. But unfortunately, time is reaching to the end of this session. We wished to take more questions to discuss further, but Mr. Andrei, probably we will think about the way to take more questions if it comes later. Right, but at this point, I'd like to thank you, His Excellency Ambassador Ueda for speech, Mr. Nisa, JETRO Director for opening, and the panel, Mr. Nakajima, the Radu, the Bojan, joining us to share the precious experience of you, and hopefully you find it somehow useful today. Andrei.
Yes, thank you very much, everybody. Just a short note on Palinka, maybe for Nakajima-san. Palinka, it's sort of a sake, but much better. No, I'm just joking. Okay, so thank you very much, everybody, for attending this very interesting discussion. It was very enlightening for myself as well. I feel that I'm better prepared for the Innovation Forum that is happening again, as I said, on 19th and 20th of June. I understood a little bit more about the historical background that defines the cultural business of today's Japan. And I think that's very, very important for all of us. Obviously, I would like to thank also to the ambassador that he dedicated time to be here today with us. That's a very strong signal from the, let's say, governmental side of Japan, that they play. I mean, they put a lot of emphasis on the importance of the relationship between Japan and Romania. And I can only hope that this session helped you also as much, or at least as much as I said in my case. And I also remind you that it was recorded and we will make it available to everybody who registered for this session. We had, as I said, more than 130 people who registered for this session. So we will send out a newsletter and also the availability for the recording. And last but not least, I want to thank you to two people who made this possible. One is Morita-san and the other one is Kudo-san. Thank you very much for making this possible as part of Cluj Innovation Days.